Hi and welcome. Today I want to show you how to get Google Maps topologies and the path or splines you create in Google Earth Pro into Ventuz. I'm looking now for a nice spot. See, I'm choosing something in the Alps and I'm gonna draw now a path with the path tool from Google Earth Pro. So all I need to do is now click on this create path and then draw a spline down the mountains on a kind of road or whatever it is. So you don't need to hold down the mouse button, you just can click from area to area and it will create a straight spline then. So now you have created your spline, you need to save that spline into the locations of Google Earth Pro. So this dialog pops up. We type in a nice name for that, click OK, and the spline or the path will then be created inside of Google Earth Pro. Now right click and save this path as KML file and not KMZ. It's very important. So click on save and it created a KML file. Now we need a tool called GPS Bubble to convert the KML, the Google Earth markup language file, into a GPX file. So you select here in this drop-down menu for the format, the Google Earth markup language, choose a file name. Great. And then for the options, just leave it at the defaults. It's important that you set just waypoints, routes, and tracks, that they're gonna be converted. And for the output, you choose GPX XML. So it creates a GPX file, which we can then simply drag and drop into Cinema 4D. So we choose a nice file name to save as, in this case, something like path somewhere. And then you just click OK and it automatically converts that file, hopefully successfully, into a GPX file. And then you get the plugin called DemEarth 3 from cinemaplugins.com. And when you have installed and set it up properly, you just need to drag and drop that GPX file into Cinema 4D, and it will then download the terrain and the exact location. So when you click at the imported or created object itself, at the DemEarth object, you can see that it sets exactly the coordinates, the longitude and latitude coordinates, as well as it is created the spline. All we need to do now is download the maps, the tiles, that we have a kind of texture. So click on download here and you see, swoosh. We have now 4 textures downloaded, which are then converted into a real texture, one texture, but I'm choosing Google SAT now because this is way better in the quality. You can also rise up the levels and get higher detail quality maps. So we delete the old texture. So increase it a bit, that we have higher details and a higher resolution texture. Downloading now 18 tiles and creating one big texture out of that. So we delete the old map. So, but the point is, we could not get this into Ventuz right now. We have to generate mapping coordinates, real proper UV coordinates, since it's a flat projection, and this cannot be handled by right now by the Cinema 4D plugin live link to Ventuz. So yeah, we need to convert that later on. If you're unhappy with the height, for example, if it's a flat geometry, you can bring it up with the height slider, by the way. And if you want to have it more flat, you can also use the remapping option and make the whole thing flat. The path will also fit accordingly to the terrain height. So that's a very important thing. As well as the width and the height, as you have seen, you can also change the width and the height so that it is more square or something like that. So anyway, we need to convert that now into an editable polygon so that we can change the UV coordinates and apply them and bake that more or less into that mesh, since it's a projection. So the strata is just the borders, and the extrude is the real surface, the mountains. All we need to do is copy that material, right click on that, and then generate UV coordinates. That bakes the UV coordinates into the mesh, and we delete the old tags so that just the new tags are on the geometry. And the nice thing is we still have a sweep track, which is still an editable spline. So when you're unhappy with the spline or the path, you can modify it at any time. So we don't need to convert it to an editable geometry. We just can simply tag the whole thing now with a setup link on the DemEarth object itself. The extrusion gets now the object link, and we enable now the texture so that we get hand over the satellite image. And this sweep spline gets also the object link, since we want to have that in Ventuz as well. So leave it at the defaults. And now we're going into Ventuz, creating a new project. Any name. So, new scene. And we bring in now the geometry import live node. Select the setup link tag, which was called DemEarth object, update, and voila, the scene is now in Ventuz. The disadvantage with this workflow is right now the faces for the surface are flipped. We have the geometry and the texture, but we need to adjust the lighting and also use the render options and change the culling mode to none. Else you won't see the surface. So we just adjust the light a bit so that it shines from top down. Yeah, great, here we have it. So what I'm gonna do right now is unlink the axis and the material, since every time we would change anything on the Cinema 4D side, the spline will be put on top of the geometry. I mean, really high up in the air right now. So we have to bring it down manually a bit and adjust that is really floating on top of the mountains. So here you see we have the spline correctly in Ventuz. We have also the texture imported into Ventuz and the geometry for the mountains as well. Yeah, and that's basically it. So there's another nice thing what you can do. You can also import or get the informations for the village, for the buildings. It would be handy if you still have a copy of the original DemEarth object and choose to have the DemEarth Smart OSM. With Smart OSM, you can look for buildings, the routes, and so on for highways. You just need to click then request from server, and you see create small rectangles for the buildings. You then can extrude these rectangles by using the smart extractor, and this creates small cubes, and then assign a simple, I don't know, a grayish material to the buildings and use the Ventuz object tag to get that into Ventuz as well. So that's basically it to get all the informations from the maps and from the mountains and the spline as well into Ventuz. I hope this helps a bit to get behind the idea how to get mountains, splines, and the textures and correct coordinates into Ventuz. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any more questions, just feel free to drop us a line. So that's it for now. Thank you very much.